Welcome to the podcast. My name is Jamie Knight, and I'm a realtor with Real Broker here in Cajun Country, Lafayette, Louisiana. The goal of this podcast is to provide massive value by bringing insider access to our area's top agents and find out how they've been able to achieve massive success in their business. My hope is that you take away a few things from their experiences to grow your own business. My guest today is a friend and fellow realtor, Cade Harris. Cade is a top producer in the Houma, Thibodeaux area. Cade is a team leader and broker for the CHT Group, a well-respected brokerage in Louisiana. Welcome to the podcast, Cade.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jamie. I've been looking forward to this.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to get your story, man. Got to drive down here to Houma, man. Probably about a little less than 2 hours away from us in Acadiana, but I wanted to make the trip down here because we've been doing a lot of work together with a foreclosure property that we've got coming up, and I wanted to get your story down here on the podcast, man, so we can share it with our group in Acadiana and with realtors across the nation. So tell us how you got into the real estate business so we can get a little bit of framework on you.
Yeah, sure. So prior to this, I was a respiratory therapist at the hospital. I had a friend that was also a therapist. He was working on getting his license at the time. He kind of introduced me to it. I grew up in a household where my dad was a contractor, and then my brother is also a contractor. So the housing was always something that I was familiar with.
Gotcha.
So I kind of put two and two together and decided to start getting my license. And then I would have never imagined it turned into what we're doing now.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so you started originally, like we talked about this, you started as just an individual agent like everybody else did, right?
Right, yeah.
And you started with another, well-respected brokerage in town, and then you kind of grew into more of a team aspect, right?
Right.
So tell us a little bit about that growth and like where you guys are now with the team.
Yeah, so I originally met my partners. I have 3 partners in CHT Group. I originally met them because I knew they were doing some type of foreclosure. I was trying to expand my business. I knew that they were doing some foreclosures in the area they were in, so I kind of reached out to them and built that relationship over time. We eventually became full-time partners in what we were doing at the other brokerage, running our teams. And then we decided, almost 3 years ago, we decided to kind of venture out on our own. We started our own brokerage. So 3 years into it now, we grew our brokerage from 17 agents at the time to currently almost 60 agents.
Nice. Yeah, and you guys are so well respected. Everybody who knows you guys and knows the name is y'all have built an amazing group of top tier agents who are just so well respected. And it's very similar to the brokerage that I came from originally, to just small, well respected, building your agents, growing your agents, but also to taking on top tier agents and attracting top tier agents to the group. So you've been able to talk to us a little bit about the team members too, because you've been able to attract some great agents in the area and just maintain a high level of professionalism and support. So tell us a little bit about the support that you guys provide for the team and kind of how you built the group into what it is today.
Sure, yeah. So I guess the biggest thing what separates us apart from most of the other brokerages in the area is we provide a lot of support with our systems that we have in place and the people that we have in place. With us here, if you come over here as an agent, you get a lot of support staff like a full-time assistant, you get a transaction coordinator, we have a full-time marketer, and someone that does our advertising for us. So a lot of those things are done for you whenever you come to our brokerage.
Nice. Yeah, dude, that's awesome. So you guys are providing a ton of value for your agents that are with you in the journey.
Right.
And that's where they're coming from. But not only that too, is you guys are, y'all are great leaders, and you guys are also doing great production too. So you're able to show them how to level up their production as well as get the support that they need to be able to grow their business to amazing new levels.
Right.
So you've probably seen, a lot of growth from those agents that have come along with you on this journey, right?
Yeah, of course. And there's a lot of agents that came to us from other brokerages after we opened our own brokerage, and we were able to take those agents from doing what they were doing there to the next level because they had the support. They were able to free up some time because they weren't having to do their own marketing and advertising or the things that come along with the transactions. Allows them more time to kind of focus on getting new business, nurturing the business that they have, and making sure they're taking care of their clients at a higher level.
Yeah, dude, I love that. So let's talk about your client base and your database specifically, because you've grown your business amazing through the years, right? Started off as an individual agent, but you still do a lot of production. So let's talk about in what ways are you reaching your database, your personal database? What ways are you connecting with them?
Yeah, so I do a lot of the same things that most people are doing. We send out a bunch of mailers. I guess the biggest thing for me though is I only work with listings. I don't really work with buyers, so it allows me more time to kind of focus on making my daily phone calls, reaching out to my past clients. I make a lot of contacts to my previous sellers. But long story short, I just kind of like spend more time focusing on that because of the systems and processes that we have in place here. Yeah,
I love that. Yeah, so that's great. And just the past podcast too, we did one with Scott Gaspard, and he's big on his, making phone calls and reaching people and talking to people. And right. In every market, y'all are kind of in probably a little bit different community than we are, even in Acadiana. But, I'm sure it's more important in these areas like this is to really just reach your people by phone and reach them where they are. We talked about dressing for the, where you are. We talked about being similar to where they are with the way they dress or the way they talk or the way they are or where they act. And that just makes you so relatable to your client. But you're calling them and meeting them like where they are in the process, and you're not like forgetting about them. So one thing we had talked about too, and this is where I was going with that, was we talked about you've been able to have a lot of success in the Grand Isle area, right? And I see it on your social media all the time. You're always posting about Grand Isle, and you've been able to come into that market and meet them where they are, but also bring a level of marketing, advertising, promotions that is just unmatched, and you've been able to take over like that market. So tell us about what you're doing in Grand Isle, and for people who aren't from Louisiana, tell us where that is and why they need to know about it.
Yeah, so Grand Isle is a unique place here in Louisiana. It's a barrier island. It's the only inhabited barrier island we have here. So there's it's great fishing. A lot of the summertime gets really busy. So I noticed kind of like a gap in the industry there. There was two main brokerages down there that they were doing stuff in the old school way. They're very local to the area, and I kind of thought there might have been an opportunity there. So I started pushing, started marketing and advertising in the area. I built some relationships with with a contractor there that I forced him to do business with me over time. I would just show up at his job sites and just see what I could do, offer some help, and eventually he brought me on board. So he was pretty instrumental in me breaking into the area.
Yeah, for sure. But you were doing all kinds of different stuff, right? Like, I mean, you're talking about maybe the old way they were doing things with the old way they were shooting photos and everything, but coming in and doing professional photos, presentations, marketing, advertising, really promoting the area. So tell us a little bit on that side, what you did to change that mindset in that area.
Yeah, so the brokers that were in place down there already, they were kind of old school. They weren't really doing too much marketing or advertising. A lot of their photos and stuff would be from their iPhone. Right. So we came in there and we just kind of wanted to do something a little different. They're so local. They weren't even doing any marketing advertising, but we came in with our network, with our agents across the state. We were able to present those homes to the agents across the state as opposed to just the people that were local there. Yeah, and another cool thing we did this year is I teamed up with a local mortgage lender and a local title company, and we bussed in 40 agents from around the area to Grand Isle. We went look at all the high-end listings. I think we had like 10 or 12 high-end listings that we ran them through. We brought them to the Hurricane Hole, which is a resort on the island. Right. We're able to show them around something. We brought a lot of exposure to the island that it had never had before. So I was pretty excited about that. We had a lot of people talking about it.
Yeah, and another thing that I'm not sure that everybody knows about is you are actually officiating college football games right now, right?
Yeah, that's right. I don't really talk about it too often. I don't really tell a whole bunch of people, but
Yeah, but we're getting it live on the podcast. But
yeah.
so you're what? Every time I've called you on the weekends, you were like, man, I'm in such and such. I'm in North Carolina or whatever. So tell us a little bit about what you're doing with the refereeing thing.
Yeah, so fortunately, I was able to get hired to officiate college football a couple years ago, and then this season I was picked up by a conference in North Carolina and Virginia. So last 4 or 5 weeks, every weekend I've been on the East Coast calling college football.
Yeah, dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
And you even ran into a little bit of the storm stuff delayed you the last weekend with the huge hurricane that they had in North Carolina.
Yeah, so we were actually supposed to be flying into North Carolina the day that the storm was passing through. So, and it was just delay after delay. I ended up having to change our flights and our routes for the day. We ended up getting into town much later than we anticipated. It was a huge mess.
Yeah, man, and you feel for those people, man. You hate to see that happen. I still thinking back about how that hurricane kind of came across the whole entire United States right there to just cause so much havoc was just insane. So you feel for those people, man. I hate to see that happening, but in Louisiana, we've seen a lot of that. So.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy. The week before, we were actually in Asheville. That's where our game was. We stayed and our game was just outside of Asheville. So all those interstates and roadways that you see all over the news that were washed out was actually the interstate we're traveling to and from. So it was kind of a surreal feeling watching all the media on that, and just being there a few days before then.
Yeah, man, that's crazy, dude. Yeah, so you feel for those people, and I know a lot of people in our communities are doing things for them and sending supplies and everything else. And I know locally in Lafayette we have a lot of drives and stuff that people are trying to get them some resources. So definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to those people for sure, man.
Yeah.
So let's kind of transition a little bit to. So on the podcast, a lot of times we talk about new agents, or maybe we talk about agents who are struggling right now. What advice would you give to an agent who's struggling right now, or maybe a newer agent who's looking to try to grow their business? What advice would you give to them?
Yes, I would. I'll tell them to treat this as if you were working any other job. Put in the hours, show up to work every day, get to the office at a certain time, make sure you checking off all those boxes throughout the day. I know whenever I first got into this, the way I was able to break into the industry was I was typically the first one in the office in the morning.
Yeah.
I was the last one to leave at night. I was there on weekends doing just anything and everything I could to get my name out there. I was doing open houses for people in the office that had listings when I didn't have them.
Yeah.
And anything you could do to get your face out there, just continuously work. It takes a little while to build up that clientele, build up your name. I tell you to give it 18 months, pushing as hard as you can, showing up to work every day, and you'll see the fruits.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And a lot of people are like, I tell people right now, I'm super, super busy right now.
Right.
And everybody's like, man, why are you busy? Everybody's slow. All I hear around, the different offices, oh, I'm so slow. But I've been showing up to work this year like unbelievably. Like you said, first one in the office, last one out, and turning the lights off 6, 7 o'clock at night, and setting an alarm or whatever at the office. But all of those things that you're building in the dark when nobody's there, and you're building before everyone gets there, that's what separates the top producers from other agents. It's not that we have some magic sauce that they don't have, or we have some magic pill that we took that they don't have. We're in in those times that nobody else is working, we're working.
Right.
And first thing in the morning, we're working, so like that's what separates the top producers. And I think we could travel around the country and like visit with top producers. And I think it's a resolving theme, like even with you and I. And I think that's why we've been able to kind of generate a friendship is we're basically the same person. We're out there grinding, putting in the work, talking to our people, looking for opportunities in the market like you did with Grand Isle. I mean, but that's why we've been able to grow like our business so much is because, in those downtimes, you put in work.
Right.
So that's great advice to an agent because we talk about the magic pill on the podcast and there's no magic pill. You just got to put in the work,
That's it.
And build something you're proud of, So like you guys have built an amazing business too, right? Like, Tell us a little bit about like maybe some of the other people, like you're also connected through in the Denham Springs area, the Baton Rouge area, even Orange Beach. So tell us a little bit about like other areas that you guys are connecting in right now.
Yeah, so my partners and I, we have 2 locations in Louisiana. We have an office in the Houma location, and then we have one in Denham Springs that my business partners work out of. But we also have, we're also licensed in the state of Mississippi. We have a couple agents that work along the Mississippi Gulf Coast, and then we have a few agents in our office in Gulf Shores. We cover Gulf Shores and the Orange Beach area too.
Nice, yeah. So y'all across the coast. I like that, man. You know, what kind of things are you guys doing as leaders to lead? You're leading a lot of agents. Like, what kind of things are ways that y'all are leading those agents?
First of all, just kind of like what we had just mentioned, is showing up to work every day, leading by example. My agents here know that I'm in the office on a regular basis. They can always catch me here.
Yeah, for sure. So you're doing the things you're not just telling them what they should do. You're showing them
right
what they can do.
Leading by example. I think that's the most important thing. A lot of brokers aren't necessarily involved in sales.
Yeah,
I think it's a good thing. I'm on the forefront with them every day. I'm on the ground with them.
Yeah,
buying and selling. So I think it allows me to kind of lead them in that direction as well.
Yeah, and then being a top producer too, you know, you're leading them and you're showing them. You're not just telling them, hey, I do this and I think it's going to end up in sales. You're like, hey, I'm doing this and this is ending up in sales.
Yeah, this is how it works. This is what's working.
Yeah, and if you want to be a top producer, do this.
Right.
And I'm not just – because we talked about that a little bit earlier, you know, with other brokerages and stuff like that, and, you know, having somebody who maybe is not doing production telling you what you need to do production. It's
right.
Like, wait a minute, why am I doing that? So showing your team that you're capable and, you know, and a top producer, like they're going to want to be close to you with all your production that you've been able to do. Yeah, so I know another thing that's happening right now, and I know you guys are experiencing the same struggles that we're experiencing in Acadiana, is you guys are struggling big time with insurance costs, right?
Yep.
So would you say what's a bigger factor? Is it the insurance costs or the high interest rates? What's the bigger factor in your mind?
Yeah, I think the insurance is probably the bigger factor. We've seen since the rates started coming down, the buyers are kind of getting back into the market. The biggest thing is the insurance, though, finding what homes are in the flood zones, educating the people on the flood zones, finding the right agent that's going to put in the effort to help you find the insurance companies that are providing lower quotes. I think it's just important for buyers and sellers in the area to be educated on the insurance and have somebody that's fighting for you and doing the things behind the scenes that kind of can alleviate some of those issues.
Yeah, for sure. So being connected, having connections, knowing the right companies to use, what companies to shop can save buyers hundreds of dollars even a month if you get the wrong insurance policy, and may or may break the deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right?
Knowing, just advising the clients accordingly, like once you get them qualified to buy, knowing what their price points are, factoring in insurance if those homes don't fit their ability to buy because of the insurance. So that's been the most important thing, is kind of doing the research for the buyer and kind of advising them on what direction to go.
Yeah, man, for sure. We're having very similar problems in Acadiana. One angle that we've found that's been helpful is costs of newer construction have been quite a lot cheaper than existing construction. That's been a cost savings for our people. I think I've sold a lot more new construction this year than I've sold in previous years because they've been so attractive from an insurance standpoint. I mean, we're getting very cheap quotes on new builds because plus they're not in flood zones,
right?
Typically,
yeah. Especially in Grand Isle, what we've noticed is that the cost to insure some of the older homes is just astronomical. I've gotten quotes for some of my homeowners down there where their annual premium is in the $50,000 and $60,000 range.
Dude.
So we've just had yeah, it's insane. So we've just having
$60K a year in insurance.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
That's insane.
So we've been able to find some companies in the last few months that have provided a little bit better premium for those. And it's also getting creative with how they're covering the homes. So there's a lot of opportunities for instance, a lot of people are insuring their homes on the island using off-site coverage from their primary residence. So what they do is just kind of roll some of the coverage from their primary residence into their second home.
I gotcha. Well, that's interesting. So they're able to cover their first home, which covers some of what they've got owed on the house.
Yeah, so kind of like, I guess it'd be so much like an umbrella policy.
I gotcha.
Is that right?
Yeah, no, I could see where that would be kind of a neat way to play it. But yeah, I mean, somebody like that, like you, younger in the business, willing to do whatever it takes. I can see why you were able to kind of take over that market, like in Grand Isle, by getting creative to make deals happen.
Right.
With insurance.
Yep.
Versus, like you said, maybe the way they used to do it was old school, and they probably I bet you those same people are probably like, hey, y'all just figure it out. You know what I mean? I can just assume that that's probably how they're handling that insurance thing. But yeah, as a realtor, if you're not very well versed on insurance costs, what type of structures have the cheaper insurance costs, what areas are more affordable for the insurance costs. For us, like I-10 is a marker where we say if you're above I-10, costs are much cheaper for insurance. Or if you're below a certain area, or in a certain parish even, like right. For us, like if you're in a different parish, we've got some parishes that are struggling with insurance, and that's because those parishes hit the coast.
Right.
So those properties that hit the coast, those parishes that hit the coast, we're struggling big time to find coverage, even of homes that are 30, 40 miles away from the coast, but they're in that same parish that hits the coast. We're having trouble with that.
Yeah.
So, yeah, Louisiana definitely needs some help with insurance, man. And that's a struggle that I know we're struggling with right now. And but it sounds like the best way to handle that is to be that professional that knows the right companies to call, that knows maybe the right homes to recommend to their buyers, and knows how to keep those costs down. So let's close it with this. Let's close it with maybe one more encouraging thing that you can tell realtors in our market that may be struggling. But let's just maybe close with like one more thing that you might give, some encouragement that you might give to another realtor in our market right now.
Yeah, so I would say, again, like we talked about a little while ago, showing up to work. But the biggest thing would be staying positive. We're in a tough time right now approaching this election. We have insurance costs being all-time high, interest rates being a little bit higher than they had been previous, right. Even though they're starting to come down now. I would say be positive. Portray that to your buyers and sellers, the positivity of the market. Be on the forefront of being educated on all the issues that could come up, and be the professional in the market.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody wants to work with Tigger, right? Not Eeyore, right? You don't want to be the guy that's, oh, boo-hoo me, insurance costs are so high and all this other stuff, man. You want to work with somebody that's positive, dude. We're going to get it figured out.
Yep, of course.
Because, man, you save somebody some money on their insurance, you put a complicated deal together, and you make it work, and those people are super fired up, super excited, man. They're going to remember Cade Harris.
Yep, I'll come back to you.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. Well, dude, I really appreciate you being on the podcast, man, and spending a little bit of time with me this morning, man. It was fun to come see how you do some business, man. We're going to go put our eyes on that foreclosure probably that we're working on, man. We'll post a picture of that in the thing, man, because we don't always represent high-end houses in Grand Isle, Louisiana on the beach or whatever, right?
That's right.
We represent them foreclosures too, and that's how we connected. But anyway, Cade, I appreciate you connecting with us and jumping on the podcast with us, man. I think people are going to get a lot of value from what you guys are doing at the CHT Group, man. And I would I'm sure you'd be open to a phone call if somebody's curious about, what you guys are doing at the group, man, and how y'all set everything up and what that looks like. I'm sure you'd be open to chatting with people on that, right? Yeah,
of course. I'm always open. I'm always at the office, so anybody ever needs anything, feel free to call or text me.
Sweet.
Happy to help out when I can.
Cool, man. And we'll put your contact information, man, if you guys want to go reach out to Cade on social media. And if you guys ever have any business in this area, man, he's the man in Grand Isle. If you're interested in being on the beach in Louisiana, Cade's your guy, man. So y'all reach out to him. I'm sure he'd be happy to help. So
thanks for having me, Jamie.
All right, guys. Well, do us a favor. Go ahead and like our podcast, man. Give us a positive review. We're trying to bring a lot of value by connecting with realtors all over the state of Louisiana and find out ways that they've been able to grow their business, that they've been able to, really encourage other agents that are working with them. So I appreciate you guys listening into the podcast, and I hope that you guys have an amazing day.